Welcome to our family writing workshop. Today we're going to be doing a workshop out of Mastering Words again. And today we're going to do lesson 2, which is the sentence. I'm not going to go over today how to use Mastering Words in general. We already have a previous video on that. But today we're just going to do lesson 2 as a family workshop. You're welcome to pause the video during exercises that we do with the kids and try them yourself if you like. Okay, are y'all ready? So we're going to talk about the sentence today. Everyone here is familiar with a sentence, right? Yes. Okay, let me just read something that comes from Right Words that Granddaddy wrote that I think y'all will find helpful in how we understand what a sentence, what its function is, what's the purpose of the sentence. The sentence is an ordering of words. Just as all life must arise from the order of the cell, so all writing must arise from the order of the sentence. Wrong sentence order can drain words of their meaning. Scramble the words of the previous sentence or this one, and you have a meaningless jumble. Okay, let's try that. Order wrong words, scramble, jumble. You have a previous. Does that make any sense? No? So it's the structure and how each word comes together that provides meaning. Yet arrange the order of the words to convey precisely your feelable thought, your meaning, and your experience, and then you will have rebirthed the jumble into the miracle of meaning, a sentence. A sentence must transmit a complete, feelable thought, no less and no more. Okay? So let's talk about the sentence. What does it contain?
Words.
Words. What else?
Thought.
What kind of thought?
Complete thought.
A complete thought. A complete and feelable thought. Okay? Good. What else does it contain? Just even think mechanically. What else? Practically does the sentence contain? Carrie Beth?
Well, it contains a verb and a noun.
Okay, a verb and a noun.
Punctuation.
Punctuation. Good. Okay, so let's talk about that. I have my trusty whiteboard here. So I'm going to go over some of the things. The way that Mastering Words is structured is that we have level 1, level 2, and level 3. So today we represent all 3 levels. So some of y'all have already done some of this, but we'll still go over it. So first of all, the sentence has a complete thought. In other words, if I say something like, been happy, is that a whole thought? Jumped over. It's missing something. So it has to have a complete thought. It always begins with a capital letter. Whatever kind of sentence you have, it begins with a capital letter. And we have different kinds of sentences. We have sentences that just tell us something. We have sentences that command. We have sentences that are an exclamation. And we have sentences that ask questions. Okay, and we're not going to get into all the names of those today, but those are the different types of sentences. That no matter what kind of sentence it is, they always start with a capital letter and they always end with a period. So they must have a capital letter and they must have something at the end, a period, an exclamation mark, or a question mark. In the middle, there are some other punctuation that they may or may not have, but they always have something at the end, that question mark, exclamation point, or a period. And they must have a subject and a predicate. Okay? Everybody say subject and a predicate.
Subject and a predicate.
Exactly. So the subject is the noun part. It's who or what the sentence is about. The predicate is the verb part. It's telling us what's happening in the sentence, it's the being part or the action part. Okay, so they all have a subject and a predicate, the noun part and the verb part. Okay, so that's something you want to bear in mind. Whenever you're checking your work after you've been writing really fast, just say, is each sentence a complete thought? Does each sentence start with a capital letter? Does each sentence end with punctuation of some kind? One of those three kinds. Okay, so one of the problems that we often run into with sentences, people don't make a complete thought. So give me an example, Sean, of a fragment.
He jumped.
Well, that's actually a complete sentence because it has the subject and it has the predicate.
He jumped over the.
Yeah, he jumped over the.
Exactly. That's a fragment. Exactly. So there's some examples here. And this time I'll put my glasses on since last time I could barely read. I think there's some examples here. Went quickly down the road. Is that a complete thought?
Yep.
No. What's missing?
Subject.
The noun, the subject. Along with my sister, brothers, and cousins. Okay, it's got lots of words, but it's missing something.
The verb.
Yeah, what did you do? It's missing all kinds of things, actually. She quietly and swiftly. Doesn't tell me anything. It's got some feeling in it, but where does it go? Running quickly, he. Okay, those are fragments. Another problem that we often have with sentences, and this one is much more typical among kids, is run-ons. Who can tell me what a run-on is?
It's when you put like two or more sentences together and you don't use any punctuation or anything, so they just run together.
Yeah, you just keep running on and on and on, right? You don't stop and start clearly. Here's an example of a run-on, and this has punctuation. It has one thing. It has a period at the end, okay? I love to write. I could write every day. Also, my mom encourages me to. Okay, it has three thoughts, which it is okay to put more than one thought into a sentence if you have the proper punctuation. Either a semicolon or a comma and a conjunction. A conjunction is and, but, or. If you can combine it like that with a conjunction and a comma or a semicolon, you can put them together. But even then, it's dangerous to get more than two. For my birthday, we took a hike, then we had a cookout and dessert. Same thing. It could work, but they didn't punctuate. One of my favorite things to do is to work in the garden. I love gardening. Okay? It may feel like one thought to you, but it's really more than one thought. It's got more than one subject, more than one predicate. I love to cook. I would cook all day if I could. Okay? But there are ways to fix run-on sentences. Let me show you. How about green? Okay, so this is the way it is. I love to cook. I would cook all day if I could. So, what can we do to fix that?
You can put in between I love to cook and I would cook all day if I could. You can put a semicolon.
Okay. I love to cook. I would cook all day if I could. What would be some other ways we could fix that?
A comma and an and.
Okay. I love to cook and I would cook all day if I could. There would be one more way. What would be the other way that we could
Put
do?
a period, make it 2 sentences.
Yeah, just put a period. Right? Okay, so when you're going back over your work especially, I don't want you to have to worry about this when we're doing a free writing and we're writing as fast as we can and just trying to get the thoughts in. But especially when you're going back over your work, you want to fix all those things. And the more you fix them, the more you're going to find that you don't actually do them. You learn to just break that up and make it 2 sentences. Okay. So now this is the part we're going to focus on primarily today because I think most of you have already been through all that, right? Okay, sentence openers. And some of you at least are familiar with this, but you can't practice enough. So there are multiple ways to open a sentence. The most common way is what? What's the most common way to open a sentence? What do you usually say when you start a sentence? When I'm talking about this, I'm saying, okay, these are the sentence openers. Words that the words that end with ing, like running, okay? That's one way, not very common. Words that end with ly, like quickly or immediately. A clause opener, a prepositional phrase opener, a subject opener, or an ed opener. A subject opener. I went, that's a subject opener. Sean cooked breakfast, that's a subject opener, okay? Nicholas did the chicken chores, that's a subject opener. Okay, so but we're going to talk about some other openers that are also kind of fun to use. Now these openers are not as common. The prepositional phrase opener is pretty common. The subject opener is the most common. And so we want to stick with those as being our most common ones. But it's like we talked about last time about using adjectives and adverbs, that you use them like salt and pepper to spice things up. If you change every sentence to have a different opener in every single paragraph, it's going to sound ridiculous. So we want to use them like salt and pepper and throw in different types here and there to just spice up the writing, especially when you want to get someone's attention. So I'll read to you a few sentences that start with some of these other openers. Let's look at this ing one. These are all from the Bible. So I'll read them from the Bible. Concerning your testimonies, I have known of old that you have founded them forever. Psalm 119, 152. Concerning your testimonies. Now you can hear that has kind of a clause, what we call a clause, it's like a preparatory phrase, and you still have to have your complete thought following it. So you have your clause and then a comma and then your complete thought. So concerning your testimonies, I have known of old that you have founded them forever. Then here's another one. This one's a little bit easier to follow maybe. This is also scripture. Throwing his cloak aside, he jumped to his feet and came to Jesus. Mark 10:52. So it's emphasizing that throwing the cloak aside. You see his excitement in that action. So where would you put the comma in that sentence? Throwing his cloak aside, he jumped to his feet and came to Jesus.
Side.
After aside, after that clause, okay? So that kind of ties directly to the clause opener because they're both the same. Okay, here's another one that's going to use the ly opener. Okay? Assuredly I say to you, whoever does not receive the kingdom as a little child will by no means enter it. Mark 10:15. Another one. Immediately the girl arose and walked. Mark 5:42. Suddenly, when they looked around, they saw no one anymore. Mark 9:8. Okay, so you see how we can use ly openers. I would say that after subject and prepositional phrase, that ly is probably the most common because people use words like suddenly, quickly, but you don't want to overdo them either. Let's see, there's some more here. Here's some clause openers. If anyone wants to sue you and take away your tunic, let him have your cloak also. Matthew 5:40. As the deer pants for the water brooks, so my soul pants for you, O God. Psalm 42:1. So what's the clause? It's a clause opener. So listen. As the deer pants for the water brooks, so my soul pants for you, O God.
After breath.
Exactly. Now when evening came, he was alone there. What's the clause?
Evening came.
Now when evening came. Okay, here's some prepositional phrase openers. Through your precepts I get understanding. Psalm 119, 104. Through your precepts, that's the prepositional phrase. By the word of the Lord, the heavens were made. Psalm 33:6. What's the prepositional phrase?
Lord, and by the word.
By the word of the Lord, because it's got kind of two prepositional phrases. With man it is impossible, but not with God. What's the phrase?
With man.
With man it is impossible. Okay, so those are some of the openers. Oh, and the only one we didn't use that I didn't read an example from is the ed, and it's the least common, I think, and it would be something like, let's say, stumped. I picked up the dictionary to look up the word. Okay. Befuddled, I turned to my brother and said, "What's that all about?" So it's when you kind of want to place an emphasis on something, then you can put that verb with the ed there at the beginning of the sentence. Befuddled, I said this, but that would be pretty uncommon. So the next thing I want to talk about is using the word because. We'll read some scriptures in the Bible as well. Because of the hardness of your heart, he wrote you this precept, Mark 10:5. Okay, so this isn't just an opener. This is, I'm just talking about using the word because in your work. I say to you, though he will not rise and give to him because he is your friend, yet because of his persistence he will rise. Luke 11:8. But when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered. Matthew 13:6. So using the word because is sometimes a challenge when you're first learning to write, but it's a good challenge to, when you're writing a paragraph, say about something you're studying in your unit study, that you use the word because somewhere in there. You'll find that it challenges you to look up answers that you might need to know to complete your paragraph properly. Okay, so try to use the word because in your paragraphs as often as you can. I think it will just be a good challenge. So we're going to do an exercise and then we're going to do a little game. So we're going to take one sentence and we're going to try to put all these different openers on it, okay? Let's just do the Nicholas fed the chickens one. Nicholas fed the chickens. Okay, so this is a little bit like the exercise that we've done before where we kind of add to and grow the sentence to make it clearer, to make it better, but it's also incorporating this idea of new openers, okay, just to make it interesting. So what I'm saying is that you don't have to only use these words. When we develop our sentence here, you can swap words around. You can add a little bit of a thought or a clause or a prepositional phrase or something like that. But we want to, together, we're going to do this part. We want to change this sentence to open it with a different sentence opener. So let's try first the prepositional phrase opener. Who can think of an idea to open this sentence with a prepositional phrase? And we can add words, okay?
Leaning into the tractor.
Okay, that's the ing word. We're wanting to do the prepositional phrase.
As Nicholas fed the chickens.
But that's not a complete thought. That's a fragment, right?
So we can add those.
Think about this. Time of day.
In the morning.
In the morning. That would be a prepositional phrase, okay? Down in the yard. Across the field. Okay? Those are all. So let's try in the morning. In the morning, Nicholas fed his chickens. Okay? Okay, let's try. You started to do it. One of y'all started to do it. An ing word. How could we do this with an ing word? We won't write every one of them down. How could...
She said leaning into the tractor.
Leaning into the tractor. So then what would you have to do? Because that's still a fragment, right?
Nicholas fed the chicken.
Nicholas fed the chickens. Leaning over the chicken tractor. Nicholas fed the chickens. Okay, let's try a Lee opener.
Quickly, Nicholas fed the chickens.
Quickly, because he wanted to go swimming, comma. Quickly, comma, because he wanted to go swimming, comma. Nicholas fed the chickens.
Finally, Nicholas fed the hungry chickens.
Finally, Nicholas fed the hungry chickens. What?
Lazily, Nicholas fed the chickens.
Lazily, Nicholas fed the chickens. If he did a bad job, and we're about to tell that. Okay, so let's try, let's see if we can think of an ED opener.
Disappointed.
Disappointed. Okay, finish it out. Nicholas fed the chickens.
Rushed.
Yeah, rushed because of the upcoming trip, comma, Nicholas fed the chickens. So see how you can kind of bring some other details in, even if you think about changing up your sentences a little bit. If you're trying to do that, it might help you to think about how he was doing it. So just play with it. If you don't like something in your writing or your paragraph, just play with it a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to do a game. Does everybody have paper that they can pass? Okay. So each of you is going to have a different opener. So we've got the subject, obviously. We have ing, ly, clause, prepositional, ed. You write your own as a subject opener, then we're going to pass it to the left, and everybody's going to edit your sentence by making it one of these other kinds. Does that sound good? Okay. 1, 2, 3, go. Everybody write your subject sentence and then pass to the left and do what you were told. You start with the subject sentence, then you pass to the left and you edit with whatever I gave you. Is everybody done? You done? Okay, Tina. So you had the ly word. Yes, go ahead and read the first sentence, what was written, and then read your sentence, how you edited it.
Tina went to a writing workshop. Happily, Tina went into a writing workshop.
Good. Very nice.
Aviva stood up to sing. Preparing to sing, Aviva crept to the front of the stage.
Good. Connie?
I cradled baby Aaron in my arms. Sitting in a leather armchair, I cradled baby Aaron in my arms.
Good.
Rebecca milked the cow. Early in the morning, Rebecca milked the cow.
Good. Nikki?
I went swimming. Happily, I went swimming.
Happily I went swimming. Okay, Aviva?
He shook his head. Disappointed, Nicky vigorously shook his head.
Good. Very good. I quickly cleaned the bathroom. Before the company came, I quickly scrubbed the bathroom and polished the mirrors. Okay. Okay, we're going to do one more, and then we'll be done. Okay, so since we're doing a unit study on ancient history and we're studying Egypt, I thought we would take advantage of the workshop and work on something for that. So, okay. So it says the Egyptians used hieroglyphics to write. Okay? So does everybody know it? Remember what hieroglyphics are?
It was only royal people in Egypt knew it, like the priest and like that, and it was basically their alphabet. Hieroglyphics were picture writing, so they would use it to write stories or whatever, and it would be pictures of things.
Mm-hmm. They were conveying messages with pictures, right? And where did they usually write it, Nicholas?
Wrote it on like stone tablets
And what else?
and clay tablets. They also used reeds and wrote on it as paper.
Papyrus. Papyrus, yep. Okay, good. Okay, so we're going to do what we just did. Everybody is going to do this sentence, and everybody is going to try to write it. You can expand it to say something else about it. As long as you don't make a run-on sentence, you can make 2 sentences if you want. But you're going to say something about this, and you're going to try to, each of you is going to pick 2 openers and do 2 sentences with 2 openers. You can either do the same sentence if you can't think of 2 about the topic and just do it 2 different ways, or you can do 2 sentences that go together using 2 different openers. Okay? Everybody ready? 5 minutes. Okay. We're ready. Tina, you want to start? Read both of them.
Okay. Only the most important
important Egyptians used hieroglyphics.
Good.
That's right to write.
Yes.
With hieroglyphics, the Egyptians can read and write.
Very nice. Very good. Nikki?
Preparing the pyramid, the Egyptians used hieroglyphics. Silently he sat, etching hieroglyphics into the wall.
Good. Very nice.
Carefully, the Egyptians used hieroglyphics to write plans for the pyramids. Amazingly, the pyramids still stand today.
Good. Very nice. Connie?
For their alphabet, the Egyptians used hieroglyphics to write. And then using clay tablets, the Egyptians drew pictures for their alphabet.
Good. Very nice. Carrie Beth?
Writing records in hieroglyphics was important to the Egyptian pharaohs. Confused, the man tried to translate the Egyptian hieroglyphics on the Rosetta Stone.
Very nice. Very nice.
Because they did not have the English alphabet, Egyptians used hieroglyphics to write. Using pictures instead of letters, the ancient Egyptians used hieroglyphics to write.
Very good. That's great. Using hieroglyphics, the Egyptians kept historical records on stone, clay tablets, and papyrus. Sadly, many of these recordings were lost through the defacement of stones, temples, and tombs by bandits. Okay. So that is the completion of lesson 2 on the sentence. Next week we'll do the question, which is fun. We have lots of questions, don't we? All right. Thank you, everybody.